Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Hello, can you guys hear me all right? It's always like, I don't know if it's working. It's always working, but hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Great, okay. So it looks like we don't have a huge number of people on, which is kind of always how it goes with these live streams. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes and see if a few more people get on here, and then we'll get started talking about all kinds of stuff. So I know that you guys are, in anticipation of my announcements today. I'm sure most of you, based on some of our Twitter posts and other comments, have kind of figured out that it's all about the DexiHunter release, but we do want to talk about a few other things. So we've got a few more people on here. Hello, everybody. It's good to see familiar avatars, not really faces. Yeah, so we've got a few more people joining here. Let's give it like maybe another minute. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Columbus, Ohio. So hopefully it's lovely where everyone else is. One of the fun and exciting things about crypto is that we're all over the world. Crypto never sleeps, and our team is all over the world, and our community is all over the world. So it's often it's fun. One of our main devs is a guy named Michael Konelik. He's our chief technology officer, and he lives in Thailand. So we're like literally 12 hours apart. So we're like, he's getting up and I'm going to bed, and I'm going to bed and he's getting up. It's always kind of interesting. So all right, so Germany in the house, nice. We'll give it here. We got 25 people. We'll give it another minute, and then we'll get started here. I want to thank everybody for being on the live stream today. And obviously, this is not an episode of Curse Words in Crypto, so I'm not going to start out with any, inflammatory fortunes, and I'll try to refrain from swearing since this is the Dexi public channel. But it's always good to be able to do things like this, whether it's in Curse Words and Crypto format or on this format, to be able to speak with the community. And I know that you guys maybe get sick of seeing me. So we actually have an AMA with DX sale on Friday that Don and I are going to do together. I don't know if that's actually going to be a video AMA or not. I'm doing a podcast on Wednesday and then another one on the following Tuesday. So we have a kind of a series of podcasts going on. Don's hopefully going to be able to do some of those with me. Don being the very buff, good-looking dude that he doesn't love cameras the same way that I do. So we always kind of joke that I've never met a camera I didn't like. I never met a microphone I didn't like. Okay, so we got a few people on here, so let's get started. So let's address kind of the big issues first, and then we'll kind of get into some other issues and not issues, but topics, and then we'll take some questions. I don't want this to carry on for a huge amount of time, because I find that the longer these live streams are, the less people actually watch them all the way through, because people have very low attention span. But yeah, Dexi, you guys, you're going to be able to get all your Dexi merchandise at the Dexi merch store here. So I released the new white paper to the community last night, and it has a lot of information in it. And there's been a lot of good questions already. I've gotten some DMs and stuff. So one of the things that was already pointed out was that we did drop Dexi Hero from the suite of gaming applications, and we're going to update the website to reflect that. Don and Andrea and I and other people on the team all kind of decided that though we had done actually a fair amount of work on that, we decided that we didn't really think that was a good addition to our suite of gaming applications, that it didn't really meet our kind of ethos, and that we didn't want to spend any more time or resources on it. So we've dropped that. Ovi and his team are actually working on a different game concept, which is a racing game that I'm not going to get into too many details about, and we're not going to make huge announcements about that. I didn't put that into the white paper, but it will probably get into the next iteration of that as we kind of get to the end of the development of the current games. So not end of the release development of the current games. They'll always be in development and always be improving, obviously. So okay, so let's deal with the big issues. DexiHunter. So I know everybody, we've been working on this application for 14 or 15 months. And it's gone through many different versions. I think you guys who have been around would know that we actually had a working application that we completely scrapped and started over again because what we were doing in it was absolutely not going to be scalable or work in a long-term sense. So we like completely started over, I think in August or in September maybe, and working with a whole new team of devs, and we changed the mechanics of how all that works. So anyway, so we've been working on this for a really long time. We've gone through many different UI updates, many different versions of it, and it is finally to the point now where we're ready to release it to the global public. So we did our 5-city beta in May. That's the other thing about crypto is I like completely lose track of time. My whole life is flashing before my eyes. So I'm sure everybody else feels the same way a lot. But so we did the 5-city beta in May. We had a lot of mechanics in there that we were confident about, but weren't entirely sure would work because we weren't testing it outside of obviously our internal group. And there was a lot of things about the UI and functionality that was kind of intuitive to us, but was not intuitive to other people. So we had to make a lot of changes. We actually hired 2 new animators and designers to help us kind of upgrade all of the animations in there. And then we, kind of totally rethought the back-end mechanics of how we wanted all that to work and integrate and the admin panel and stuff. So there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of updates to the UI, to the UX. And we've been working very hard on that, diligently. So, okay, so we are going to be releasing DexiHunter in, I think the list is like close to 60 countries on Monday, September 19th. Okay, so that's roughly 4 weeks from today. I guess it's 4 weeks from yesterday. Why are we pushing it out a little bit? Because we need to go through a couple more steps of things that have to get kind of integrated into it. And then we need to make sure that we get the approval process through the App Store. So we're giving ourselves some time to do that. Sometimes the App Store denies our builds for reasons that we don't totally understand, and then we kind of figure it out. But anyhow, so we need a little bit of time to just kind of buffer because we don't want to commit to a date before then and then have to push it out because we're not approved through the App Store. But we're extremely confident about September 19th. That's plenty of time. We have to make a few more updates. And so that list of countries has already kind of been made public, but we're going to make that a more official public. We're going live with DexiHunter in like 60 countries. Now, what does that mean? That means that so the way that the way that the App Store in particular works, and I think this is true of the Play Store, although I'm less familiar with it, is that we can release an application by country. So, we can limit the countries that we're releasing the application in. So I'm sure that, maybe, people who are listening to this have already had this experience where a friend of yours in another country is like, oh yeah, download this app. And you're like, I can't, because it's done by country code, right? So we're releasing in specific countries and not in other countries for a lot of reasons. Some of those reasons are that Dexioprotocol is a US-based corporation. We have a filed corporation in the state of Delaware here in the United States. There's obviously a Dutch subsidiary that is owned by Don and another subsidiary here in the US in Ohio, LLC, that's owned by me. Anyway, so we need to follow rules that are laid out there. So some of the countries that we're not obviously going to be launching the app in are sanctioned countries, and there's places where we're not going to be launching it. And eventually we may want to launch a version of our application there, of DexiHunter there, that doesn't have any kind of crypto or blockchain mechanics, because that's another reason why we're not launching in some countries, because there's major restrictions on crypto and blockchain. As you would know if you've been following Dexioprotocol at all, our entire vision is to create business mechanics and applications that can be used with or without a digital wallet, and especially the games that are able to be used with or without a digital wallet. We can release our games and use our games in places where blockchain and crypto is restricted or banned. So, but for right now, we're not going to focus on that. So there's a list of about 60 countries. What does that mean? That means that we're going to be dropping bounties and making the game fully playable in every metropolitan area inside of those countries that we think is going to be suitable for the application. Now, this is sort of a complex subject that I don't want to get into too much detail about, but obviously we can drop as many bounties as we want all over the place. We could have billions of them around the world, and if they're not being collected and redeemed, then that's not really a value to us. So we need to make sure that we're I mean, there's no cost to us to drop the bounties themselves, because we're not, there's nothing we're doing with it until they're actually redeemed. But we do want to make sure that we're focusing on metropolitan areas where we have a user base and a growing user base. So and that's going to take me to DexiZones here in a second, which I am going to talk about. So again, September 19th global release. It's going to be, we're just sort of bypassing the 10,000 public beta thing. For those of you that don't know, there's a process to make a public beta on test flight where you can have up to 10,000 people in a public beta with a link. We do already have that already approved and could do that, but we decided not to do that. We got the information that we needed from the 5-city beta that we did kind of in our community testing, and now we're pushing on to just going ahead with a global release. So September 19th, big deal. So what does that mean for us? That means that we're very focused on making sure that not only is DexiHunter fully operational and has all the mechanics in it that it needs, and then it's approved by the App Store, and Play Store. But we also need to make sure that all of the other products that kind of integrate with DexiHunter are in fully functioning, full form. So what does that mean? As everybody who's watching this probably, and anybody who's going to watch it would know, we had Dexi and Dexi Gas on BSC. All that's being migrated to Kronos. We're going to talk about the migration here in the pre-sale in just a second. But the thing is that the game, the Emporium, the DXG Game Emporium is basically going away, right? And the Dexi Marketplace is basically going away. They're being merged into a single site, right? So that single site is what we are calling the Dexi NFT Emporium. Now, if you read my white paper, which I don't expect any of it's 25 pages or something. So or 23 pages, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a lot of information. So, you can just kind of look at the table of contents and go down. You can see that, we're going to have a single site where there's a creator hub, which is what the Dexi Marketplace is becoming. And then a game vault, which is what the DXG Game Emporium is becoming. And all of that is going to be in one place. You'll, have to create a Dexi Connect login, using the Dexi login system, create your profile, all that stuff. All that stuff will be integrated. You'll be able to migrate your NFTs over. There's a whole migration setup. I'm not going to get into too many details about that, but all of that needs to be functioning, obviously, with the release of Hunter. And all of it will be functioning with the release of Hunter once we go live on Kronos. So we're very close to that happening too. And again, we're going to talk about that in a second. So, and then the other thing that we've been working very hard on is making improvements to the whole play to earn mechanics of Dexi Nights. And again, there's more information in the white paper about how we're kind of adjusting what we're doing with that to be more sustainable. One of the things that I say in the white paper, and I've said many, many times in many live streams and to many people, look, our mission is adoption, utility, and sustainability. We are interested in crypto and blockchain adoption. We are interested in making sure that there's utility for our token for a myriad of reasons, but not the least of which being that being a utility token is the only way to actually have long-term sustainability. And then also the sustainability portion, which is the business mechanics of Dexioprotocol, which again you can read in the white paper if you want to, but I've released a lot of information about that, and we've talked a lot about that, about fiat revenue generation, business partnerships, all kinds of stuff, right? So I'm not going to get deep into those details. As I said, I don't want this to go on forever. So you can read about that, you can ask questions, you can certainly get more information about that, and it's not like it's rocket science or something. I mean, it's pretty obvious what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to build crypto and fiat revenue streams to support the business of Dexioprotocol, support development, and create earnings for the business and for our holders and for our investors. So the thing that I think is important to understand is that everything that we do is guided by that idea, right? Adoption, utility, sustainability, and then the principles of again, I've said this many times: authenticity, integrity, and transparency, right? Everything we do is kind of guided by that. Not kind of, is absolutely guided by that. And so we're trying to make sure that we're we're doing everything that we can to follow those guidelines. And so, and one of the ways that we create sustainability is through user retention in our products, right? Obviously, some of you are familiar with, I don't like to name names, especially in these videos. I do in the curse words and crypto videos, but there's been a lot of projects that have done very well, on the basis of a lot of hype, and that they don't really have any kind of retention, right? And so as their user base crashes, especially in the gaming side of things, but also DeFi and in other parts of crypto, just in general, if your user base, crashes, your business crashes. My grandmother used to say to me, when I would ask her questions that she didn't want to answer, she would say, well, does Macy's tell gimbals? Now, everybody watching this wouldn't know what the hell that is. And the reason why is, number one, people probably don't even know what Macy's is anymore. But Gimbals was a department store in New York that Macy's basically put out of business. And the saying, does Macy's tell Gimbals, comes from the fact that, when she was a kid, they were competing department stores, and Macy's was out competing Gimbals. What happened was Gimbals lost all of its use. They lost all of their customers to Macy's, and now they went out of business. You've never heard of them, right? So you need retention. You need people coming back. You need people to continue to use your products, and our attention span, especially in the gaming, industry, but also just in general, our attention span is obviously going down as there's more and more media to consume, right? So we have to give people options, layers. We have to give them, different opportunities within our ecosystem to do different things. And that's why we're building out the gaming ecosystem the way that we are. So DexiHunter is, really the backbone of this whole thing. We all know that. That's kind of the thing that everybody is really focused on. We know that that's kind of a, the I don't know what that's the big boy, right? And it always has been, but we've, been very focused on developing other games and the other applications within our ecosystem so that these things can interwork together and we can provide options for people, right? Dexi Nights is super fun. It is a great game. It is for desktop, so it's somewhat limiting, but we have added so much to that. There is so much depth to that game, and different non-blockchain assets and NFT weapons and all kinds of different, maps and realms, and the PvP competition. We're going to be adding in the bracketed tournaments. So, that's awesome. DexiDragons is in internal testing with the game dev team, and is coming to internal testing with the rest of the ops team. So basically the dev teams test things, and then the ops teams start to test things, because the dev teams are smarter than we are. And the ops teams are like, your baseline user, your bar that you have. Like, if I can't figure out how to use something, then probably it's not good. So because I'm old, right? But in any event, that's coming to internal testing here at the end of this week with the ops team. So, you guys have seen all the dragons, stuff come out. Recently, Ovi dropped a whole bunch of images of the different dragons. I do want to clarify, you guys, the dragons are not NFTs. Okay. The NFTs in DexiDragons are actually the, weapons and armor and outfits and different things that you can, dress your dragon up with, or you have home areas that you can, dress your home areas up with. The NFTs, the dragons themselves are non-blockchain items. So I do want to clarify that. That's been, kind of going around. People are very focused on the idea that the dragons themselves are NFTs. They're not. They're non-blockchain items that you'll, be able to, collect or purchase with Dexi Cash. So again, this is something that we're integrating into DexiHunter. So, one of the things that we have been working on is adding elements of especially DexiDragons and Dexi Nights into DexiHunter. Now, I write about this in the white paper a little bit, and you can read about it, but we are actually facilitating augmented reality dragon fights in DexiHunter. You're going to be able to use your dragons that you have from DexiDragons in augmented reality dragon fights in DexiHunter to collect bounties. Very cool stuff. There's going to be NPC characters from Dexi Nights, which are going to facilitate quests for people to go on throughout their city to collect special, high-end bounties. And they're actually going to have to perform spells in augmented reality, do specific hand gestures on their phones in the augmented reality in order to unlock different aspects of the quest. So really cool integration, right? But also about retention. Okay. So that's all really exciting stuff. DexiCarnival has 5 currently mini games. I write about those again in the white paper. Plinko, skee ball, air hockey, claw machine, and then Ballista. And you can read about those again. this is, DexiCarnival has always been kind of just a fun way for people to spend their Dexi Cash, to earn Dexi Cash, and to earn non-blockchain items and potentially NFTs. We haven't really integrated that into DexiCarnival yet, but that's kind of more of just like a fun game, right? That people can play. And again, about user retention. We want to keep people playing the games. They're going to be earning things inside of DexiCarnival that they can use in DexiDragons and so forth, right? This is the whole integration concept. Yeah, so we're really excited. Hunter, September 19th. I'm not going to give a date on DexiDragons public beta, but it's going to be around that time, obviously, because we're going into internal testing. So we're going to do a public beta on that. And we're very excited about that. We're going to start releasing some NFT weapons and armor and other, cool stuff, other cool NFT items for DexiDragons. We're going to start releasing some of that stuff. Probably going to do some whitelisting for people to be able to get some different stuff. So really, really, really cool stuff on the horizon, you guys. I know that these last few months have been very hard. All right. So I'm going to start addressing questions here in a second. I'm not even reading the chat, you guys, because I'm just trying to talk through this stuff. But look, this has been rough, man. I mean, from, for the whole market, but, also for Dexi, this has been a very, very difficult period for lots of reasons, in the ATH, that we experienced, but also the entire crypto market experienced in November. I want to point that out, that the whole market ATH then, and you have, massive liquidation of the market since then. And obviously, we've experienced that, at an extreme level, I would say. And, we've made this decision to move to Kronos. We wanted to upgrade our smart contracts. We wanted to combine the two tokens together, consolidate our resources, obviously get, help in marketing and in resources and in potential, investment opportunities from Kronos. I know that you guys probably are like, well, they haven't been, super on, loud about our getting on Kronos, because we're not on Kronos yet. That was always sort of the deal. We needed to get on the network yet. So we will be once the pre-sale is over. And again, I'll address that in a minute. So I know this has been hard, right? Don and I got on the phone together and literally burned 200 billion Dexi. Okay. I burned all the Dexi from the early migration, and he burned all the Dexi from the supply wallet. It may have been even more than that, actually, because there was the supply wallet, I think, had like 100 billion Dexi in it. And then there was the dev wallet and then Don's actual, personal wallet. We burned all that. I burned the whole early migration wallet. We burned all the Dexi gas. Like it was, and then, watching on Bogged, the coin market cap drop to, watching on Bogged, the market cap drop to, whatever it is now, it's been a very, kind of gut wrenching thing, right? To watch this whole process happen. But this is about rebirth, right? And that's what, Kronos and going on the Kronos chain is about. One of the things that I've talked about, but not in great detail, is the fact that we are going to be launching Dexi across multiple chains, meaning that there's going to be a Dexi on Polygon, a Dexi on AVAX. And we'll get into more of the details about how that's going to work and how we're going to control the supply here, down the road. But so again, I know this has been very hard. I know. And it's been hard for us. It's been incredibly stressful and challenging, as we've been trying to navigate our way through all of these very, complex and difficult things. But we've never stopped developing. Our dev teams have never stopped, and we're never going to stop. We are developing our products. They are coming to market. They are awesome. Our business concept is awesome. We have people that are very interested in what we're doing. We're kind of being cautious about any relationships that we, fully dive into until, we're a little bit more confident about, what we're capable of, what we're doing. Plus, right now we need to get these products out so that we have a little bit better of a hand, right? So, okay, DexiZones, let me touch on that. And also, if you've read the white paper, you're probably wondering what DexiGov and the DexiDAO is. So I'm going to touch on that very briefly. I'm going to talk a little bit about the pre-sale, and then I'm going to do questions. Okay, so DexiZones. DexiZones are geographically, significant areas that we geofence in and allow individuals to run what we're calling a full spectrum AR-based business utilizing the technology behind DexiHunter. Okay, what does that mean? That means that we're going to geofence in specific areas like cities, right? Like, for example, I would be the DexiZone owner of Columbus if I wanted to be. And if we wanted to make Columbus a single Dexy zone, we could break it up into multiple zones like New York City or, Singapore. The bigger cities would be obviously, more than one zone. But and as the owner of that zone, I would be able to benefit from all of the activities in that zone, as well as any of the business partnerships that develop from that zone. Now, I'm not going to get into very deep details about this. We're going to produce another document about this, but I do want to tell you that this is our way. This is our method of turning DexiHunter into a full spectrum business that, really we're sort of franchising in a way, but I don't want to use that term because, people are not really owners of DexiHunter. They're not really, they are, owners of specific geofenced geographical areas where the activities within those areas inside of DexiHunter are things that they can directly benefit from. So we are going to be whitelisting no more than 250 DexiZones, and we are going to allow individuals who want to get on that whitelist to take up to 3 spots. Everyone on that whitelist will be vetted. They will be docs to us, KYC AML to us, and they will have to be members of the Dexi DAO. So let me get into what the Dexi DAO is. So our attorneys and, for a long time, we've been sort of toying with this idea. What is a DAO? A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. What does that mean? That's a long word. You can look it up and read about it. Lots of DAOs do different things, but essentially it's a group of people who have ownership of the DAO, and that DAO has certain rights or responsibilities that reflect another entity. Okay, so in our case, the Dexi DAO would govern all of the decisions that were made that were specifically written into the charter of the DAO. That they would govern all those decisions. So, for example, leadership within Dexioprotocol Incorporated, taxes, swap taxes, deploying new tokens, all of the things that we would write into that charter, members of the Dexi DAO will be able to vote on. And so what that does is it decentralizes the decision-making process into another organization, and it creates something that we like to call corporate veil. Now, again, I'm not going to get too deeply into this conversation because that's not really the purpose of this live stream, but that is coming, and we are going to do that. There's obviously going to be a governance token, which we're calling DexiGov. I've talked about that before. We've had some different ideas about that. That's evolved over time. That will be the governance token that operates the DAO. And the DAO will have operational control over certain aspects of Dexioprotocol. That's how that's going to work. DexiZone NFT owners, the zones themselves, will be owned by representations of the zones, which will be the DexiZone NFT. Those will be, resellable by anybody. People will have to, by the owners, people will have to stake Dexi in order to operate a Dexi zone as an insurance policy against bad action. And just like you have to stake, ETH to be a miner on the Ethereum network or anywhere else, you have to, put up some resources to make sure that you don't behave badly. And if you do, that's taken away from you. So the same thing will apply. We're going to have more information about that. Again, I don't want to go way deep on this. Okay. So I'm sure there's going to be some questions about that, which I'll answer, but hopefully that I covered those things. I know I'm talking really fast because I'm trying to make this video like under 45 minutes, which I doubt it's going to be. But anyways, okay, pre-sale. We set up the pre-sale for 19 days, knowing that there was probably going to be problems. We did not know that there were going to be the serious problems with loading time of the page that there have been. The truth is that that's a combination problem between DxSale and Kronos chain. So Kronos is a relatively new chain, and so their network gets bogged down. And the way that DxSale populates that page is by what we process that we call scraping the block, which means that they're reading information directly from the block and reporting it back to that page and loading it. And if for some reason, if their sync block or subgraph is not working correctly or is not updating in a timely manner, or the information that they're trying to retrieve from the block is not being returned, then that page goes into an endless spinning wheel of death, which everybody has experienced. Okay, we can't really do anything about that. So we've offered to help people by facilitating purchases for them, because we've been able to kind of stay on it and get through. There's also people are having trouble buying Crow and getting it to a non-custodial hot wallet and connecting it and doing all this. It's kind of complicated to buy into the pre-sale. It is. And this is always true, but it's even more complicated by this whole ChronoStream Crow thing, you know, and it not being on PancakeSwap and the BSC, which was, you know, something that was easier for us during the DexiGuest sale. But anyhow, we set the hard cap at what we believed to be an achievable amount, and we set the soft cap at what we thought was you know, reasonable. And you know, obviously hard cap and soft cap are related in a 2-to-1 value. So you know, did I think that we'd be further along with 7 days left? Because that's what we have left. Did I think that we would be further along on our way to soft cap? Yeah, I thought we would be, you know, probably halfway there at this point. I did not account for the problems with loading time. Okay, so we're not halfway there. We're about 20% the way to soft cap and 10% the way to hard cap. Okay, we have 7 days left. All right, I think there's a lot of people who have waited to get in on the pre-sale because they didn't see a need to get in on it early, because it wasn't filling up and they had time to wait to see what happens. So I think we're going to see a lot of people come in. I know that there's quite a few people that I know that haven't, you know, bought in yet, also wanting to see what would happen with price action on the price of Crow. Turns out that that was a smart move as the price of Crow came down since we launched, but it may go back up again. I'm not going to talk about market conditions, but I did call that bull trap. I want to point that out. If you watch Curse Words in Crypto, I did call the bull trap. Now, that wasn't because I'm some genius and I understand, you know, all this technical. I mean, I just, you know, it was obvious to me that it was a bull trap for lots of reasons, but people a lot smarter than me that do the technical analysis were actually saying the same thing, and I believed what they were saying. So you need to follow, you know, honest people, not influencers, about what's going on. You know, all these perma bears and people who were just like, you know, in euphoria, like we're back in a bull run. I mean, it's just totally crazy. Anyway, so, but do I think that, you know, the market's going to come down and bounce back up? Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're going to see a little bit of correction, and that we're going to see movement again in a very positive direction, at least for a time. Do I think that that's, you know, we're going to enter a whole nother bull market cycle like we were in April and then in November again? I don't think so. But it, you know, again, I'm not trying to make price predictions, and I'm certainly not some kind of, you know, supermarket analyst. I'm just kind of, I've, you know, as I've said in other live streams and in Curse Words in Crypto, and also on live streams with Dexy, you know, I've been a fairly successful trader. I've made a couple of very bad trades, but I've also made some really good trades. And, you know, mostly that is just, you know, been, you know, trying to understand macro cycles, and then looking at the overall picture of, you know, individual things that I'm investing in, and looking at those different cycles. So I will say that I do think that we're gonna see a little pullback, and then we're gonna see some movement again. But, you know, please don't hold me to that. I'm certainly not trying to make any kind of predictions. But I do think that if you're gonna get some Crow, and which you need to in order to buy into the pre-sale, you should probably do that. I think it's at about 12.7 cents right now. You know, so at last I looked this morning, I think so. It's, you know, it's around 12.5, 13 cents. That's a pretty good price. Pick up some Crow. You're going to get 2 Dexy V2s for every 1 Crow that you commit in the pre-sale. And of course, we have all of the bonus structures too. Okay, so and all that information is available in our Telegram and Discord. We are offering people all kinds of NFTs and bonuses for different levels of contribution, because we're trying to encourage people to get in there and contribute to the pre-sale. We're going to be doing some little, you know, kind of flash things. So I'll tell you right now that if you contribute 10,000 Crow or more, we're going to send you a badass DexiDragons NFT too. So again, let me repeat that. If you contribute 10,000 Crow or more, we're going to send a badass DexiDragons NFT, limited edition DexiDragons NFT, directly to the wallet that you use to make that 10,000 Crow contribution. If you've already made a 10,000 Crow contribution, we're still going to send you that DexiDragons NFT. Again, that's in addition to all of the other things that we've talked about doing, including, you know, actual airdrop bonuses of up to 20% depending on your contribution. So make contributions, support the project. You know, you guys are you know, you're the lifeblood of what we're doing right now. Our community is, and we really need you guys to support this pre-sale. Like I said, I thought we'd be further along than we are. I didn't figure that we would be at, you know, soft cap or hard cap at this point. I thought it was possible, but I figured we'd be about twice as far as we are now in terms of contributions. But I think the loading time and the difficulty of getting Crow has really hurt us. So we need people to get out there and support this. Okay, we need the pre-sale to move. The next question I know I'm going to get is, what happens if we don't meet soft cap? Well, if we don't meet soft cap, we're going to have to reel back and make some tough decisions, whether or not we want to do a fair launch, or we want to do another pre-sale that's much shorter and a much smaller amount, so that we can make sure that we are using pre-sale funds to fund liquidity, because that's how that works, right, on the DEX. So I hope that it doesn't come to that, but if it does, we're going to have to make some tough decisions. And Don, Andrea, the rest of the executive team and I we will make that decision at that time. I would imagine that we're going to do another shorter, much lower hard cap, soft cap pre-sale, or even potentially do something where we facilitate the pre-sale through private sale transactions like we did with the private sale beforehand. But let's not come to that. Let's make sure that we fill that pre-sale. Okay. Let's get out there. There's 44 people watching this. There's probably over 100 people have already watched it now. Get out there and promote the project. I know that things have been hard. I know it's been tough. I know that we've asked a lot of our community. I know that sometimes I'm really hard on people in the Telegram chat. And I'm not sorry for that. Look, if you're in my position and everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. All right. Like, that's just a fact. I have to, sometimes I've got to be hard on people, and, I'm okay with that. I don't care if everybody likes me or not. I do need people to respect the project, and I do need people to respect, especially my teammates. And so when that doesn't happen, you get the hammer. I'm not sorry about that. In any event, we do need you guys to get out there. We do need you to support the project. If you're having trouble connecting, if you're having trouble, getting Crow, reach out to us. We can help facilitate that. If people are having trouble, reach out to us. We can help facilitate them. We need to make this a success, you guys, because we are releasing DexiHunter live. We are doing that global. It is going to be a huge thing. We have real business mechanics built into it. We have other applications that are amazing. We have a whole new system that is brilliant and beautiful and awesome. And, I'm 100% certain that the world is going to eventually see Dexioprotocol and realize what it is. And this is going to be one of the biggest projects that was ever in crypto. But we have got to get there, and we're only going to get there together and with your support. So you guys got to do the work, right? We are doing the work on the DevOps side. We need the community to get out there and do the work. We need more people to, get out there and promote. I know some of you guys, especially our moderators and other, people who are loyalists to the project, are very active on Twitter. We need more people. We need more stuff. We need to get that message out there. Okay. And people have asked me, well, what are we doing about marketing? Man, we've paid, Twinfluencers and YouTube people. I mean, this stuff is dead. It's dead. We need real ground support, guerrilla marketing, real groundswell support. That's what we need. We need that from you. We need that from you. Whoever you are listening to this or listening to this later on today, we need that from you. You need to do that for us if you want to see this project be as successful as it can be. We can't do everything, and there's no way, no amount of money that we pay to marketers or influencers. I know people are like, well, what about Tyler here? I mean, I love Tyler. Tyler's a good guy, but he's done lots of videos on us. I don't think he has a whole bunch of new people that are watching, look at what we did with the Altcoin Daily video. Those guys, half-assedly, did a video that was like not even with up-to-date information, and it had almost no impact on the project during a bull run. During a bull run is one of the biggest YouTube channels in all of crypto, and it's like, that shit's dead. We need word of mouth, groundswell support, people. That's what we need. We need you to get out there and help us make this thing successful. If you want, it was like, yeah, I'm going to retire early. Like, I don't know what that means. And I don't know why anybody would want to retire early. In the United States, when people retire, they die 5 years later. Okay. So like, I'm going to work until I die. So I'm not interested in retiring, but I understand people are like, they want to change their financial well-being. Okay. They want to, money does not mean happiness. Certainly is not, it does not mean happiness. It just makes it a lot easier to find happiness because you're not fucking struggling to eat. There was an F-bomb. Sorry. Okay. This is the Dexy. This is supposed to be PG. So, if you want that for yourself, if you want that, you've got to help us promote this thing. We need to bring this over the edge. We need your support. We need you to do these things. Okay. So I'm 40 minutes in. I think I covered everything, and, I'm pretty riled up today. Hopefully that doesn't become a meme. All right. So, I'm trying to look for questions. Andrea, if you want to start sending me some questions, that would be cool. Okay, 2 questions related to the presale. Can I just buy more V1 and wait for migration? You can. But you guys, we've burnt all the tokens. There's been massive sell-offs, and there's like almost no liquidity left on PancakeSwap, for either Dexy or DexiGas. I would say that is not the smart play. Okay. The smart play is not to be buying V1, hoping that because remember that we've removed this standard migration ratio, and it's based on dollar value. So if the dollar value of Dexy continues or DXG continues to go down, that's not a good play. You know that you have a good play in the pre-sale. I would put your money into the pre-sale. For every crow, you're going to get 2 Dexy V2s. You know that. Okay. Put your money into the pre-sale. Do we have an estimate of how many wallets have gotten in pre-sales and early migration? I don't know, 1,000 or something like that. I'm not sure. Andrew might have that information better than I would because we've been working on the migration together, but at least 1,000, if not more. I'm still holding Dexy V1. Don't know what to do. What will happen to Dexy and BSC? Well, if you're still holding Dexy and you don't know what to do, the best thing that you can do is, honestly, I think you should swap your Dexy for BNB, get some Crow, and buy into the pre-sale. If you don't want to do that, and you just you want to hold and try to figure out what happens with the migration, you can fill out the form that we have created, the Google form online, and we will look at each case individually. Let me address that really quick. So like I've had people reach out to me like, what are you going to do to help me? My Dexy bag is way down. And then they send me their wallet and I look at their wallet and they've been like taking profits and day trading the whole time. I'm not going to do anything to help you. You've been like taking profits and day trading. What do I need to help you for? You should have been paying attention and continued to day trade and do whatever the fuck you were doing. Other people have messaged me and like, hey man, I wasn't paying attention. I've got a huge bag. I didn't know this was going on. Those people I'm going to help. Okay. Those people I've already actually, helped some of those people, already, as I said, the block doesn't lie. If you send me your wallet address, I'm going to look at the transactions. And if you've been day trading or, taking profits at ATH or whatever, or you've been like trying to buy a bag right now and then telling me that you're, having, trouble because the migration isn't, fair to you. Like we're going to look at each case individually. I think there's about 200 individual wallets that have filled out that, 200 people with different wallets who have filled out those contact forms. And we're going to look at each one of those cases, and we are going to take care of people who have been hurt by this process. Okay. As I said, I'm the first one to admit that when I make mistakes, I didn't think through exactly how this should be done from the very beginning. And, we were talking about stable migration ratios because we weren't thinking about, the fact that we were reducing the supply and adding tokens together, all these things. And so I changed that. And then people dumped on Dexy and DXG really hard as I changed that, trying to get, as much out as they could and, do whatever they wanted to do with it. That was painful for people. And I recognize that. And we are going to look at each one of those cases and we are going to try to see what we can do to help people, recover some of those losses. We're not evil. We didn't make those decisions to hurt people. We weren't trying to only benefit some people and not other people. We're trying to do what's best for the project as a whole. And the fact of the matter is that we are never going to make everyone 100% happy, ever. That is never going to happen. We will never, ever, ever make everyone happy. Okay. That's totally Looney Tunes to even have that expectation or hope. All right. What we need to do is make sure that we're doing what's right, living up to the principles of authenticity, integrity, and transparency, and that we're continuing to allow ourselves to be guided by our mission of adoption, utility, and sustainability. And as long as we're, living up to those principles and guided by that mission, we need to live with those decisions because that's what we have always said we're doing. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Now, if people have been hurt, in this process, we are going to look at that and try to figure out how we can help them. Absolutely. Okay. Why did you choose Kronos? Was not the plan to launch on own blockchain? Yeah, so the plan is still to launch on our own blockchain. That's never gone away. If you read the WhitePaper, we're still planning on having the Smart Dexio network. The reality is that in the time that we have been visualizing what we want to do, that plan has always kind of it's been in flux and it's continued to be in flux. As we have new information coming in, as we learn new things, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the space that have made us very concerned about security, obviously. And, we recognize that, there was just all these layer one networks that came out. There's tons more than maybe people even know. I mean, there's hundreds of them. They're just not doing very well. And we started to ask ourselves, at this juncture, why is it that we want to be on our own network? And when we started to ask really tough questions about that, we realized that actually at this point in the game, we don't really need to be on our own network. We need to facilitate as much connection with as many communities and as many different networks as we can, which is what this whole multi-chain idea, where that was sort of born from. We chose Kronos because they are an up-and-coming network. They are very focused on GameFi. They're very focused on supporting young projects and new projects in the GameFi space. There's been kind of a lot of motion around that. Obviously, they have connections with Crypto.com. We think Crypto.com is one of the better centralized exchanges. There will be a curse words in crypto on the problems with centralized exchanges coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But so we chose Kronos because we had direct connections there. We had good relations with them. We liked what they were saying. We are looking forward to the support that they're going to be providing us once we're on the chain, and they've provided a lot of support throughout this process, behind closed doors, I guess you'd so to say. But that's why we chose Kronos. And eventually we will launch the Smart Dexio network and move on to our own network. But we're going to do that when it makes sense. We're not going to force that, because I think the thinking from a lot of people is like, well, all the top 20 coins are layer ones, which actually isn't true because Chainlink isn't. But anyways, it's a very sophisticated layer 2. And actually, Polygon is not really a layer 1 network. I mean, it sort of is. It's a very weird hybrid kind of version of a layer 1 network, but it does depend on ETH. So it's not independent of Ethereum. But in any event, the thinking is, well, okay, so that's true, but that can't be the reason for doing things. The reason can't be like, well, all these other ones are this, so we need to do this. Like that's not a reason to do something. That's very backwards thinking. So we need to make sure that we have all of our structures in place, that we have our games out, that we have the what's called MAU and DAU, monthly average users and daily average users of our games. We have to have, a growing user base and revenue streams so that we can support actually having a very sophisticated and well-built network of our own. So, okay. Hi, Greg. Much love. I just wanted to know, how are you guys going to get players to your DexiHunter and games? If you can explain the strategy in details, that would be great. Well, the entire idea behind DexiHunter is that, in every way that we've built it, is that the users themselves are literally bringing in new users for multiple reasons. Number one, they're bringing in new users because it actually benefits them to refer new users in to help them so that they can redeem more assets. So that's the single biggest thing. But we also, have a lot of technology behind that, which allows us to be in any area in the world, right? That built into the actual application itself is the kind of awesomeness of it, right? The application itself is you out in the real world interacting with real world things in augmented reality, which can obviously be screen recorded. And so again, we're looking at how do we turn all of our users into also our marketers. And so, and also the connections with the businesses. We're offering businesses the opportunity to drop these, QR codes, which are actually just, kind of simple redemption vouchers inside of the application. So the businesses are going to help promote us, right? The best way for us to grow this thing is organically, right? So in addition to that, we are talking to some very large investors, who are looking at investing in not just, Dexi the coin and the DexiGov and the DAO, but also in Dexioprotocol Incorporated, which is, a registered corporation which has shares. So, bringing in capital so that we can, do more sort of traditional or broad bridge marketing, right? But essentially, the plan is that we're going to turn all of the people who are using the app into advocates for the app. That's the best way to grow. So I hope that answers that question. Nothing else that you haven't already addressed. Okay, so 49 minutes. Wow. Okay, this went on longer than I wanted it to. Look, there's been a lot of people on this today, and I, appreciate everybody's time today. Let me just emphasize, DexiHunter is going global in I think it's close to 60 countries, and all the metro areas in those countries. September 19th, Monday, September 19th, 4 weeks from yesterday. That is happening. Okay, that's real. DexiDragons is very, very, very close to being in a public beta. Again, we're doing internal testing. DexiCarnival is getting the finishing touches on it to go into internal testing. These things are happening. The new NFT Emporium is basically done. We're putting some bells and whistles on it. We need people to actively participate and to promote this pre-sale so that we make sure that we reach our goal. And there's no reason in the world why we can't. Look, 2 million crow divided by 20,000, is 100, right? If 100 people put in 20,000 crow, we would hit hard cap. We need people to, we need people to promote and to invest in this pre-sale. We need this pre-sale to get to the finish line. And if it doesn't, then, we're going to regroup and try to figure out something else to do. But it would be a setback, and we need you guys to get on there and do that. All right. We need that guerrilla marketing. And the DexiZones whole concept, I know that there's been a lot of people, especially some of our larger holders and people who are more interested in, long-term investment and certainly passive revenue streams to some degree, are very interested in DexiZones. We're going to be producing more information about that. But if you are interested in being whitelisted for the DexiZone, you need to DM myself or Don or Andrea to ask us about what that process looks like. But as I said, we're only going to whitelist 250 spots. Individuals can get up to 3 spots as long as they're vetted by us. And you will have to be doxed us and KYC AML. So if you're interested in getting involved in the DAO and DexiGov, also you're going to need to stake a very large portion of Dexi in order to do that. What does that mean? Let me just touch on that really quick. If you're looking to get more involved in the project, the way that you're going to do that is by being part of the DAO. And the only way that you're going to get into the DAO is by staking Dexi. So you need to have a big bag of Dexi. If you don't have that now, the best way to get that is to buy some crow and get in on the pre-sale. Okay. You need Dexi in order to interact inside of our ecosystem. You need Dexi in order to become part of the DAO. You need to be part of the DAO in order to get into the DexiZones. If you want to be part of what we're doing, of what we're building, of what we're creating here, you need Dexi, and you better get it. And you better get it on the cheap now. Okay. Dexi V2 in that pre-sale. That's the best way to do that. Okay. If you're having trouble, contact me, contact Andrea, get in there. We have 7 days left. Let's make this happen, guys. We can do this. All right. We have come so far and done so much against all odds. We've bootstrapped this whole thing. We can do anything together. We can do it. So let's do it. Okay. So I think that's it. Unless there was more questions, Andrea. I'm going to look at my phone here. I don't think so. All right. So you guys, look, I really appreciate everybody that's been on this live stream today. I did keep it under an hour. I was trying to keep it under 45 minutes, but if you guys have any questions or concerns, you guys have, if you've been, I've heard just saw somebody write, I've been hurt by this process. If you have been hurt by the process, you need to fill out a form, which is available to you in Google Docs. You can find that form on the website. I don't know if you can find it on the website. We should probably put it on there, but you can certainly find it in Telegram chat and Discord chats. Fill that form out. We will look at how this process has negatively impacted you, and we will try to address each one of those things individually, each one of those people in those situations individually, and try to determine what we can do to help people who've been hurt throughout this process. We don't want to see people hurt, and we certainly want to take whatever action we can to try to help people. So again, DexiHunter, September 19th, DexiZones are coming. Whitelist for that. The Dexi DAO also coming. If you want to be part of that, you need to have Dexi get in on the pre-sale. We have 7 days left. Let's make this happen, guys. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you around.